suddenly not so casual 7-point sharp Sunday, October 10th, 2021. We come to you live at 10:49 a.m. Eastern. It is NFL Week 5. It is the Dad Bods Capper Collective 2021 NFL Leaderboard Show. It is Sharp Sports. It is J Money is Money. It is the Guns Picks. J Money is Money. How are you feeling on a suddenly not so casual 7-point sharp Sunday?
Man, I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling great. It's Sunday. Hey, it's a new day. Sun is shining bright. Coming off a good day yesterday, man. Looking to keep it going, my guys.
Guns, what's going on, brother?
Man, let me tell you, it's week 5. It's Sunday. It's not as beautiful here. No sunshine in here. It's a little bit rainy here in the Maryland area, but it's always sunny in my head, and I'm going to keep rolling with all these great picks. Beautiful board today. I love a lot of these plays, and I'm just ready to roll.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We're not going to wait around here. We're trying to rip 30 minutes. We're going to go through, I think, most of the board, but we're starting with the top plays. My top play, 1 o'clock, Cincinnati, Ohio. Cincinnati coming in here off of what was a grease fire special non-cover, the J Money Road special, Jacksonville Jaguars, Thursday Night Football plus 7.5 winner. What do we like to do? We like to find consistency to the inconsistency. I think this starts from that point. This is 10 days ago. We find ourselves here now on October 10th. Green Bay comes in here on a 3-0 winning streak and a 3-0 ATS sample off of a couple very impressive covers against old hat style teams. Of course, a road win 30-28 against San Francisco, and then a 10-point win last week at home against Pittsburgh and Ben Roethlisberger. I think this is your ultimate letdown spot and an ATS fade spot. I also like this bringing you back to week 1, what Cincinnati did at home against Minnesota. That is, of course, an NFC North rival. Not rival, but opponent. Similar figure, -3. And Green Bay is more upgraded from Minnesota. So Green Bay is liking the same figure as Minnesota coming in here. I think it's a short figure. I think it connects with Cincinnati. I think it's a great fade of Green Bay. And I think Guns Picks has alignment and some comments.
Yeah, I definitely have alignment on this one. I'm with you on this one. I love the Bengals at home. Listen, they came out flat playing against the Jags last week. That was kind of expected the way they were playing. I think what plays into this game a lot is the passing game for the Bengals. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase just running up the field. Listen, Green Bay has a lot of injuries in the secondary right now. I know one of their corners is completely out. I know one of the linebackers is banged up and probably going to play, and another corner is banged up. So that secondary wasn't good anyway, and now they're all hurt and banged up. I think this is a perfect spot to ride with the home dog, Cincinnati. Also, you got to look at Cincinnati's had extra rest, extra prep on this one. They played Thursday night. So I like the spot here. Like you said, Cincinnati +4 would be a lock for me.
Yeah. And J Money, any comments on this one?
Yeah, I couldn't talk you off, man. Super fishy line. The Packers laying 3 on the road looks super short. I mean, just think about anybody just looking at the game or not looking at it deeper. They're just going to take the Packers blindly here, public special. So, and it's going down to 2.5 as well, moving off that key number. I'm not playing this game, but I couldn't talk any. It's definitely Bengals or nothing for me. The home dog in this spot, possibly letdown spot for the Packers here. Nothing for me official on this one, my guys.
Yeah, segueing quickly, Guns Picks official pick number 2. Carolina Panthers come in here off of a road loss to Dallas. Do we buy them in a bounce back, or do we buy the Eagles on the road off a sequence of losses themselves? Guns.
I think this one, you got to fly. Eagles fly to victory in this situation. The perception of the Philadelphia Eagles, they're a 1-3 team and they stink. Well, if you actually look at the stats a little bit, they're actually average to above average as far as the stats are concerned. You got to look who they played. They demolished a Falcons team in week 1, and then they had to go and play San Francisco, Dallas, and KC. All good teams last time I checked. And with that, they have a +43 net yard average for the season, which leads you to believe they should have won maybe 1 or 2 of those games in that spot. Now, Carolina 3-1, they are a in disguise 3-1 because they've only beat the Jets, Houston, and New Orleans. I think those are kind of low-level grade teams. At least 2 of them are. And their first loss yesterday, you actually saw who Carolina is versus Dallas. Dallas actually demolished them. I know it was like a 7-point game at the end, but it was a garbage touchdown that they scored. So it's actually more of a 2-score drubbing by the Dallas Cowboys. And, Philly can run the ball, and that plays worse into what Carolina does. Carolina's ranked 23rd in the league in rush yards per carry allowed. And guess who's number 1 in the league in yards per carry on the rush? That's right, the Philadelphia Eagles. So I like Philadelphia as a dog here. This is a public perception of a team stinking when they don't. And I think Carolina is kind of a fraud. So give me Philadelphia all day long.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree. When I looked at this board originally on Wednesday morning, the first two standout spots for me were Cincinnati and Philadelphia. This is noteworthy. It is short for Carolina. And again, you have to ask yourself, is Carolina fool's gold? Look at their schedule. They did clean up the bad teams so far. Of course, you can't necessarily categorize the Saints as being awful in that home win, but the other ones were really not particularly inspiring. I would lean Philly here. I like what Philly did out of division in Atlanta week 1 on a similar figure. Nothing official from me here, but I would lean this. Jay?
Yeah, and I see it moving down to 2.5 as well, especially when that home team laying 3 moved down to 2.5. It's super fishy, in my opinion, especially a key number with the home field advantage here. I mean, I'm a little worried. The Panthers defense is super strong. Their offense has kind of regressed or whatever, but I mean, and they added another top cornerback over there as well. So
That's right.
be interested to see what happens in this one. Nothing for me. Like I said, I'm still not. I don't know how good the Panthers are yet, right? I mean, it's like they had some. I mean, the Cowboys look really good right now. Could be a bounce back. I'm not really sold on Philly. It's just too many variables for me for this game. But I can understand the Philly look. Just looking at the line, period, would say, hey, look, Philly likely comes in here and win this game. So nothing official for me on this one, my guys.
Yeah, and play number 2 officially for me, 1 o'clock, we're going to Jacksonville. And I'm taking probably the ultimate contrarian spot on the board. It's not a contrarian play for me. I look at the numbers, I look at the narratives, and I like Jacksonville here. One thing I've been talking about a lot recently is divisional line scaling. And I will say it again. You get 8 divisional games for every out-of-division game. Of course, sometimes an out-of-division, particularly with rivals, they schedule them more than once every 4 years. But generally speaking, you get an 8-to-1 ratio. So I look at the line, and it's like NBA, third or fourth matchup. It applies to the environment. Last year, late season in Jacksonville, Tennessee beat the Jaguars 31-10 on a -6. So they win by 21 in the same environment at a 6, and then it opens up at 4.5 the next year. They're telling you there's a massive shift in motivation, rosters, and environment. And if you look at what Jacksonville has done here, of course, they do come in here off a cover at Cincinnati. They could have won that game outright. That's an impressive spot. Both their home non-covers were out of the division, which, again, is not applicable to a divisional rival. And if you look at what Tennessee is doing here, I went through the schedule. People want to buy Tennessee automatically because they lost last week. Can they lose 2 in a row? Yes. Why can they? Because their next 3 games are against the Bills, Chiefs, and Rams. 2 of those are in prime time, and they play at Buffalo on Monday Night Football next week. So you look at this schedule, an elongated schedule, of course, 1 extra game in January. They're still in a very early season environment for themselves. They haven't been particularly inspired. They didn't really, let's be honest, they didn't get like a really convincing cover at Seattle. They had to score with 1 play to finish that and then win in overtime. They were terrible at Arizona. They were terrible at the Jets. And if you look at this, I just think it's a bottom out point. When they came into training camp, they said, we have 4 or 5 games, feel out, almost like a glorified preseason, and then we're going to turn the hell up and get ready for November, December, and January. And I think there's a lot of public narratives, Urban Meyer in a bar, hanging out, lost the team, all this crap. I think there's also a counter narrative to that, where if your coach pisses you off, the guys rally around each other a little bit more, and they come up. I think Jacksonville is underrated. I think they're underrated ATS. I think if you look at how they didn't cover in the outside of the division against Arizona and Denver, they were right there both times. I think Trevor Lawrence is cleaning it up. I like his mental makeup as a rookie. The guy is refined. Shout out to Dabo Sweeney at Clemson for working on this kid's mind. Great stuff all around. Jacksonville plus 4.5. Guns?
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on this one. And the one thought that I had, as you kind of mentioned, is the Urban Meyer situation. I know he apologized in the locker room, but, you hear all these rumors that he's lost the locker room completely. I know it's kind of like, drunk guy doing drunk guy things. Who knows? I kind of chalked it up to that, but I don't know how people in the locker room feel about him regardless of that situation. But I look at Titans, and every time I see Titans as a road favorite against a team with a losing record, I automatically have to fade them because they just do not perform. They come out flat in these situations. You saw it last week with the Jets. They can't get it going. Their defense isn't very good. Granted, they were missing 2 of their top receivers. And I think they get A.J. Brown back today, and he's going to be playing, and Julio is not. But I digress. I've seen Jacksonville kind of play close with people week after week after week. They played very good against Cincinnati on Thursday night. They get extra rest. So maybe coming into this spot against a team that just doesn't perform when they are a road favorite. I like Jags on this one too. I agree with you.
Yeah, Jay.
Hey, man, this is a tough game. Well, it's not really tough. I mean, this is good for you, Shark, because this is what the whole public's saying. I can't bet the Jags right now. I can't. I feel like if you like the Jags, you bet them money line because obviously, I mean, there's scenarios where the Titans come in here and win by 3 or 4, and you still get the wins. The Jags have a boatload of problems now. Even though last week they had a really good game versus the Bengals, you're supposed to build off that momentum. Instead, now you have all this scrutiny for Urban Meyer coming through it. A lot of distractions. I'm hearing the players after he apologized to the team, everybody's laughing at him. Shit, the guy has lost the group already, and it is one of those cases where do they want to win for this guy? Do they want him to get fired? This Jags team is, like I say, they play really good versus the Bengals. Could have been a letdown for them. I could see them getting it done at the house. No way in hell I'm touching this game. It's Titans or nothing for me. I don't trust them here in this spot, so I'm staying off. But me personally, I'm worried about the mental for the Jags. They could just go out there and be playing football. They definitely won't be motivated by their coach here. I'm not sure it's a great hire, especially to pair up with the rookie. It's almost like a Zion Williamson with the Gentry, just a little NBA reference there. But yeah, none for me on this game, my guys.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that. And I say this all the time. Whenever I take a side like this, I take all of that into account. And Jay, you and I talk about this all the time when we take some contrarian side in the NBA. And everybody's like, what about this, this, and this? And I'm like, guys, we know that. Thanks. And the whole point is we're willing to overlook certain things because there's always great angles to both sides, particularly in the NFL.
Hey, I hope you cash it. I hope the Jags win outright, my guy.
Any given Sunday is very, very real. Staying at the 1 o'clock. I don't have anything more official at 1 o'clock. We're going to segue to 4 o'clock in about 2 or 3 minutes. Guns, do you have anything official you'd like to drop or any sort of professional style commentary, which you're fantastic at? Pittsburgh -1 versus Denver.
Listen, Pittsburgh -1. Okay, so Pittsburgh every week. I don't know who this team is anymore. I mean, I don't know if it's just the team just kind of lost hope in each other. Is it Ben Roethlisberger playing hurt? Most of their issues are more on the offensive side. I actually thought the defense kind of played well versus Green Bay because Green Bay could have just destroyed them and annihilated them last week, and they just didn't. They only won by 10. And, Pittsburgh had opportunities. They took the lead early, and then they just kind of, just did, the offense just kind of went lackluster, turnovers and everything else. I mean, I can't back this team. And then, I was really high on Denver last week. And I thought in this spot, it was a perfect spot to go take out a Baltimore team on the highest of highs. And I was completely wrong. Denver basically kind of showed that maybe they're not as good as what people thought they are. They did have a weak schedule coming into that game. Now they're going to go play a lackluster team in the Steelers. I don't know which team has more motivation here. The line is short for a reason because it's just a toss-up. We don't know who both these teams are. I mean, if there's any take on this one, the quarterback situation also with Denver is kind of concerned. I think is Locke starting in this one, or is it Teddy Covers? But
I think Bridgewater hurt, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's hurt. So yeah, I mean, it's no play for me. I mean, this is just ugly football.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I went through this. I thought this was a dead toss. I think Broncos are overvalued 3-1. I think they started to showcase who they are last week against the Ravens. Of course, Jay, great call there. Ravens did come in there and clean them up 20-7. Very unimpressive. And of course, when you start to get movement in and outside of the quarterback situation, it's very difficult to cap. The quarterback, obviously, the most principal position on the team. It really can sway the game. I have nothing here. I don't know if you have any comments on this one, Jay.
It looks like, the chat's saying Teddy's playing, so.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. It's probably to explain that line movement. Still super fishy line movement, in my opinion. Could be a circle the wagon spot for the Steelers here. Obviously, we don't necessarily know how good the Broncos are. Played 3 really terrible teams combined 0-9, and then go in and get smacked up by the Ravens. In theory, they could come back, but also the Steelers, they could have a circle the wagon spot, try to save their season as well. So these are the type of spots spots where I would possibly look for a desperation spot with the Steelers, man. But I want to segue to this Saints versus Washington game. The football team, you dig what I'm saying? I did ride with my guy last week, man, and we cashed a lucky cash. I mean, they barely had to beat the Falcons. I mean, it was a total luck box. I'll be the first to admit it. I don't care. I got the cash. That's the only thing that matters. But this week, going with the exact opposite, man. I'm going back with the Saints here. Obviously, they played a lot of road games. It's tough. You're coming off a game where you gave up the lead and lost in overtime versus the Giants. I expect Sean Payton to have his team ready in this one. The football team, their defense has not been as good as advertised to begin the season. One of the worst defenses in the league so far. So unless they can get it together, I don't see the football team being able to keep this one close. I see a bounce back for the Saints. They're 2-2 on the season. Either you can go 2-3 or you can go 3-2. It's really a pivotal type of game, in my opinion, really for both teams. But I do trust the Saints a tad bit more in this spot. Need Winston to come to play here. I don't need the 3 picks, Winston. I need the 3 touchdowns, no picks, Winston. Need Sean Payton to have a really good game plan here. I like the Saints here. I did bet them early. It's up to 2.5 now. I like the Saints here by 3.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. I mean, I think one really specific point, we had the Chargers, which was an outside of the division home game for Washington in week 1. Chargers did go in there and win. I think it's a very similar environment. I think the Saints are being similarly graded here at a short favorite spot. Washington has been very uninspiring ATS. Obviously, you said last week we did get lucky. We're never going to apologize. We get backdoored the other way more than we get our favor, and that's just an absolute certifiable fact. Public factions do get lucky more than sharps, period. And we're never going to apologize. I got backdoored in 4 games yesterday. I was pissed off. So for anybody that would say that, look at my card yesterday. But staying on course here, I do think the Saints are a sharp look. Obviously, Washington coming in here at home. The one question I would ask is Washington ever going to cover a home game? We shall see. But I think the Saints are a good look here, Jay. Guns?
Yeah, I think when you look at the Saints, they're either on or off. And it seems like the pattern is every other week they're on, every other week they're off. I mean, you can see it in their schedule. They go and they beat Green Bay 38-3, Carolina, then they lose Carolina 26-7. They come back next week to New England, bash New England 28-13. Then they lose to the Giants at home 21-27. Now they're coming back on the road to go play another NFC East opponent. One coming off the highest of high wins against the Falcons, which probably in theory they should have lost that game, at least from the covering standpoint. We got lucky on that one. And, that's pretty much, coming off a big loss like that, Sean Payton's going to have his team ready to go, prepared to go on the road, to go and not throw, lay an egg versus another team the next week. And I think what's got to help here from their standpoint is their defense has got to do what they did in New England 2 weeks ago. They have to help out that offense, create plays, get turnovers, maybe even get a pick 6 or something like that. Create opportunity to put your offense into field position so that they can score points. Get Winston confident, and that's kind of be the key to the victory of the game. So, and I think they can do that versus a Washington team. I don't trust Heineke at all. I think he's just he's really a third backup to me. But
I don't even drink Heinekens. You see what I'm saying? So shit. But let's get to Shark. I want to ask you what you think about this Browns versus Chargers look. I mean, it could be a letdown spot for the Chargers. I mean, how good are they? Right, both teams coming in 3-1. I feel like even though it's a kind of a cross country trip for the Browns here, I feel like if I'm gonna be taking one team, it's Browns or nothing for me here. Maybe Herbert may not look so good versus this tough Browns defense and defensive front. What you think about that, my guy?
Yeah, I would agree. I'm not playing this officially. I think Guns is, but I will comment here. Last time the Browns played the Chargers, Phillip Rivers was still the quarterback in the rookie campaign for Baker Mayfield. And the Chargers went into Cleveland and blasted them 38-14. The Chargers were laying 1 point that game on the road. And, of course, this is not a divisional line read, but it does still hold some merit. I did cross-reference the Chiefs versus the Browns outside of division correctly in week 1. We talked about this. Sometimes it applies to certain teams. I think the books have a good handle on Cleveland here. And you do go back to the Chargers. The Chargers did lose outright to Dallas in a very similar environment. We can probably categorize Dallas as a potential playoff team in the NFC coming into the next 8 to 12 weeks here. They did lose outright. So I think you're going to see a functionality shift from what happened on Monday Night Football last week against the Raiders on Sunday Night Football, I should say, or Monday Night Football. I'm losing my train of thought. But regardless of that, I do think the Browns would be a sharp take here. Guns.
Yeah, so you got the Chargers coming off a huge divisional win over the Raiders last week. Huge. Now they're coming off a short week. Got to go play a Browns team that's actually playing good football. Listen, they held the Vikings to 7 points on the road last week. Their offense didn't play great, but their defense played great. So that it kind of worked out in the end. So Cleveland, what do they like to do? They like to run the ball. They like to run it with Kareem Hunt. They like to run it with Nick Chubb, and even Baker Mayfield can move a little bit. They average 177 yards per game on the ground this season and 5.1 yards per carry. The Chargers, on the other hand, one of the worst teams at stopping the run. They give up 140 yards per game and 5.3 yards per carry. If you going back to 2018 when the Chargers did beat the Browns badly. If you look in that history prior to that, and granted, trends are trends, whatever, but the Browns have covered 6 out of the last 7 versus the Chargers, and Browns are 4-0 on the road versus winning teams. And then the Chargers 5-15 versus teams with a winning record at home. So they're not a good favored home team versus good opponents. And I think between the Browns run game and the Chargers run defense, that means you control time of possession and you're just moving the ball down the field, 10, 12 plays, and just scoring points. And then you have a rested defense, a pretty damn good defense for the Browns that is going to give Herbert and that team fits. I think this is a great spot to take the underdog on the money line. And the Browns are cooking. I think they're one of the top 4 teams in the AFC. No question to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think segueing 4:25 p.m. marquee showdown game. I think a lot of people are focused on this game. I'm taking the New York Football Giants +7. A couple reasons here, and this segues me to an outside the box comment. This is a tough card today. There's a lot of difficult merge points on this card today. I would actually venture to say this is probably the hardest card I've looked at in the campaign so far. There's a counterpoint to every side. Of course, the counterpoint taking the Giants. Cowboys did lose to the Giants the last matchup of last year. But I do go to the divisional line read spot. In Dallas last year, Dallas did lay 7.5 points. They lay 7. A hook movement down is noteworthy in professional sports. In college sports, it's less noteworthy. It is noteworthy here. And you look what's going on here. The Cowboys are 4-0 ATS. They're coming in here off of 2 really convincing home wins. 3rd game in a row at home, which is a funky environment. You don't see 3 straight home games in the NFL very often. And I think you're just seeing a potential letdown spot here at a very unsustainable 4-0 ATS clip. And you get the functionality we talk about with the Giants all the time. The Giants play well in the division. They play well in the division at home and on the road. Even though they did beat the Saints last week, I do think buying them again has more merit than taking a 4-0 ATS Cowboys team who do play at the Patriots next week before a bye. I think the Cowboys are due for a less impressive game. It has to come. They're not going to go 17-0 ATS. If it would come early season, it would come when you're 4-0 against a divisional opponent who always plays you tough on a line moving against you by pro odds makers. Giants +7, 4:25 p.m. Guns picks. Any comments?
You have the Giants coming off a huge road win already, and it's kind of one of those weird spots. Yes, when you look at divisional opponents, you got to look at them a little bit differently. You got to look at it a little bit more of a closer game in most spots, especially with the NFC East, which is always extremely competitive with one another. Danny Dimes actually showed that he can actually run that offense. They looked great last week on the offensive side, which you haven't seen yet all year. I don't know if this is going to take precedent from week to week or if this is going to be like a one-off kind of thing that we've already seen from him. They need to get the ball to Saquon Barkley. They need to get him involved in the offense. Got to start running the ball, moving the ball. I don't know if I trust this Cowboys defense. I know they've improved week to week, and they've actually played really above their pay grade. And I know that offense is just absolutely electric. Playing the Cowboys at home, I haven't seen them flawed yet. I haven't seen them have a hiccup. And I know it's probably the sharper take to take the Giants on this one. But right now, it just seems like Dallas is on this freight train. And I don't know when it's going to stop. So it's really, from my perspective, it's no play. But I just want to see somebody stop that offense.
Yeah.
Guns.
Jay, before I throw it back to you real quick, just one counterpoint to that. The other team that I went on record saying, this is Jay's squad, the LA Rams, Matthew Stafford out there competing in a rebooted campaign. But we did say this on record going back before the Arizona game, and I said, I think Arizona's a sharp look, but I think the Rams are on one sustainably. They're pissed. McVay, Stafford, whatever. They got shelled at home. So I do think this idea that teams are just like in a completely different environment is great, but I do think there are little holes in the armor across 17 games. And I think you could see it here today.
Oh, for sure.
So real quick, like I say, man, it's a tough game. I do worry about the Giants. They are 5-0 ATS last 5 versus NFC East. They're also 0-4 against the spread coming off ATS win. And not only did they cover the spread, they won in overtime in emphatic comeback fashion. So I do worry about them. A boatload of injuries for the Giants over there. They already somewhat of a with little talent they already have. They just can't really afford to have injuries. This line opened up at 7.5 down to 7 for the Cowboys. Like I say, you're going to get some sharp money coming in on the Giants here. I do worry because Dak is pissed. Like these guys had a really lackluster year. They finally got their guy back, finally playing some defense with Diggs, Parsons, guys like that out there. The main thing that I worry with this is really a revenge factor from last year, but also from Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett's over there for the Giants. I can tell you this, if the Cowboys – if they could, they would try to smack the Giants as much as they want. Like there would be late scores in this game, all type of shit if they had the possibility. So I'm not betting the Cowboys here. I could see scenarios where they come in here and win by 3 or 4 points, or if they're up 10 and the backdoor cover. I'm definitely not laying the 7-1. The Cowboys are starting to get too much love now. You see what I'm saying? And these are spots when they start to get too much love. That's when they come and shit the bed. So I'm not betting the Cowboys, but I definitely have to let it be known. Line did open up at 7.5. They do have major revenge versus the Giants, and they would love to smack the shit out of them at any chance they could get. So if Giants defense doesn't come to play, I think the Cowboys putting up 30 in their sleep, as they have been against much better defenses. I'd maybe lean towards the over in this one, because if they have a letdown, it'll be defensively, and the Giants will score some points. But I think the Cowboys will definitely get to their points, in my opinion. I think they go for 35 in this game easily. I guess I'm kind of talking myself into an over here because, like I say, if they have a letdown, it will be with letting the Giants score the ball defensively. Offense is rolling. Offense isn't having a letdown, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. And I see people in the chat talking about the receivers. We talk about this all the time. Again, if the 2 receivers were going to make a big difference, Vegas would move the line up to Dallas -8. They're not just saying, here you go. Like they're going to pull 4 guys off the roster and the line, is going to give you value. Just a snapshot point. We talk about that in the NBA all the time.
Yeah, they build these things into the lines.
It's always built into the line.
All built in.
One of the biggest fool's goals aspects to capping is that you know more than the books. Somehow we're all sitting here on this show. We know about the injuries. Pro odds makers missed this shit. They didn't. They're telling you the average is not moving. The average is not moving.
It's like it doesn't make a difference. That's basically what they told you.
Right. And
yeah, now Cowboys got some injuries as well. They're just a lot deeper team.
Yeah, they lost Jalen Smith, former Notre Dame guy too. They
cut him. Yeah, he was playing trash for us though. So they did that on purpose.
Yeah, and ultimately this game is a difficult game to cap. Obviously, there's counterpoints either side. Dallas could win this game.
Over has been steamed up 3 points. Open at 49.5 up to 52.5. It's over none for. I definitely see that over hitting, my guys. Let's go to this. What's up, Chark? What we doing, man? 49ers versus Cardinals. Cardinals, they're undefeated, 4-0. Coming off a huge game, divisional game versus the Rams. Do we see a letdown here, or do we see the 49ers circle the wagons? Rookie QB starting on the road. The better QB, in my opinion, so it's still an upgrade, even though he's the rookie. I want to see how they look, man. Main thing for me, the 49ers, how will their secondary look versus Kyler Murray and the guys over there for the Cardinals? That's my main the spot would say 49ers are nothing for me. At some point, the injuries do kind of worry me for the Niners here. What you think, my guy?
Yeah, this is a tough one. I am on the 49ers. I do want to make it known we are in a competition. So sometimes we play these little smaller. We're in a competition for a reasonable amount of money. So we have to make 4 plays, two 2-unit plays and 2 1-unit plays. So we go through the detailed analysis. But again, these are not whale, max bomb, Chernobyl elite per old man who bets plays. There is counterpoint to taking San Francisco here. Of course, backing a rookie quarterback in his first career start on the road is very difficult. But then you look at the Cardinals. The Cardinals do come in here off a massive high, as you just suggested, Jay. And the line is scaling against. Again, trust the line and division. At home last year against C.J. Beathard, starting for San Francisco, Kyler Murray and the boys did lay 6 points. This comes in a little shorter against a rookie quarterback on the road. And you look at San Francisco. San Francisco comes in here off 2 losses, one kind of brutal loss to Seattle last week where they outgained them. Russell Wilson does what he does in the second half, just got there, even though the stats didn't necessarily suggest it. And the previous week, they really got backdoored and burned by Aaron Rodgers in crunch time and prime time. So they're coming in here on an L2, both really tough, scrappy losses at home, which are not particularly indicative of a road game at Arizona. Arizona does play better on the road. You come back to week 2, Minnesota 34-33 win outright. Minnesota missed a field goal to win that game, and Arizona was down from the very beginning of that game. They did not come out inspired. They come in here off 2 road games and 2 road wins and 2 road covers. So you get that sequence you always talk about. Road, home, come back to the house, too hot, off wins. And you do get the line scaling against it. I am on San Francisco. I'm playing it personally, probably a half unit, and I'm in the competition on it. But I am officially dropping San Francisco plus 5.5 on the show is what we booked. Anything from you here, Guns?
Yep, I'm on it too. I like the 49ers in this spot. Listen, I know Kittle's is out. I know Trey Lance is his first start, but he's had snaps. He's been playing a little bit here and there with Jimmy G kind of off and on the injuries. Arizona coming in with after a huge monster win on the road. And you got to, like you said, they played 3 road games and then 1 home game. The 1 home game they played flat against Minnesota and probably should have lost that game too. And if you go back into the history with this team, they are road and road, neck and neck. 49ers are actually won 3 out of the last 4 matchups. And the 49ers did beat them 20-12 in Arizona. Mm-hmm. I think it's just one of those situations that they're coming off the highs of highs. I know with San Francisco, they've actually played better on the road than home anyways. They played a bunch of close games. They lost to Green Bay, lost to Seattle in their last 2. And then they go win 2 straight up. Granted, it was Detroit and Philly, but, I mean, they're still road games. I think this team is a little bit well built for the road. They're getting a nice line, a nice plus 5.5. I think that's just a testament to new quarterback and losing one of your star receivers in Kittles. So I'm taking the Niners here. I agree with this all day long. I think the Cardinals come out flat.
Can't talk you off. I think the Niners might be one of the sharpest plays on the board. Like I said, I mean, my Saints play, that's the best one I like on the board, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's the sharpest laying points on the road. This 49ers, I can tell you, it's a lot of people, even in the chat, like, oh, Arizona, easy. And it's like, it'd be like 7.5 if it was really a smash spot, in my opinion, for the Cardinals. That 5.5, that's a no man's land right there. That number didn't even fucking matter pretty much. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
I got you.
We'll see what happens, but I may ride the 49ers, which even with the injuries in their secondary, it's a total circle the wagon spot. And it's mainly a fade of the Cardinals. Like sometimes you have a buy on spot or a bet against. Sometimes just like, hey, I'm fading the Cardinals and just gonna hold my nose. So let's go to the next game, guys.
Yeah, I think Bears Raiders for me is a massive toss. Obviously, Bears coming in here off a massive high last week, 24-14 win, which we had correctly against Detroit. They really were in control most of the game. But it seems to be a tendency which they're showcasing here early season. They play great defense at home, and they really handle teams. They're 2-0 in the last 2 at home ATS, of course, versus Cincinnati and Detroit last week. Raiders are a little bit of a confusing team to figure out, in my opinion. They were too hot. Then they got beat down by the Chargers. Now they come back. Is it a bounce back, or were they too hot? Were they not supposed to bounce back to, again, covering 80% of their games? I have nothing on this. I will defer to Guns picks. Do you have any comments here?
I'm in the same boat as you. I think, Raiders coming off a Monday night loss, short week. They stay at home. Now they're playing a Bears team that, granted, they did have a win last week versus Detroit. If you look at the stats, I think they had maybe a $184 in passing. I think they only threw 17 passes that game and 1 touchdown. And they basically just tried to pound the ball on the run because they just don't trust their rookie quarterback to make throws. And, I don't know who the Bears are. Yeah, I know they're a little bit banged up on the defensive side. And also, I think their running back Montgomery's hurt or something like that too. So, the Raiders here could blow them out, but I don't know if I still think the Raiders are this team that people think they're the highest of highs when they're actually maybe just an above average team. And the Bears are, this game just stinks, and I don't like it, and I'm just gonna pass.
Huge pass from me, my guys. Let's go to the Sunday night game. We got the Kansas City Chiefs here coming off favored by 3 at the house, man. Pretty much saying they're an even team. We can see what the Bills do here. This is their time to show up. Super tough game. Total at 56.5, my guys. Shark, what you liking in this one?
I would lean the Bills here. I look at what happened last year. AFC Championship game, I believe January 20th, 2021, the beginning of a beautiful campaign. Can't believe we're still here. We've accomplished a lot this year, guys. I'm appreciative of both of you guys. I love working with you guys. It's been an amazing campaign. And no bullshit. It's been amazing. I'll say it again. I really appreciate it. But that being said, the Bills coming here on L2. They did lose at home last year. I believe 23-10 or something. They've gotten handled twice in a row versus KC. So you get a double revenge game. You get the KC functionality at home, which is not good ATS. But I am not willing to fade KC here. KC does situationally show up right when you think they're not going to cover a game. Of course, they did cover at the Eagles. They covered it like they always do. They did the 2015 Warriors special. They coasted the game, then they had a 20-0 run in the fourth quarter to cover the game. Basically, that's what they do. They don't play 4 quarters of football. They hang out, and then they're like, shit, we're going to lose the game. Let's go. This is going to be a different style game, though. And I bring you back to last year, a game they laid small points at Lamar Jackson on Monday Night Football. All sharps, including myself, took the Ravens. Patrick Mahomes came out and played his best game of the season. And I think you could see that here. I think, again, this team, back-to-back Super Bowls, we talk about it all the time. They motivate in very specific spots. If it was going to come, it probably would come here. I just cannot fade the Chiefs in this spot. Guns?
I mean, I know the public's going to be heavy on the Bills here. This is a revenge spot. It kind of fits checks all the boxes for like me personally. You know, you're coming off an AFC revenge spot, going back on the road, same spot that you lost 38-24. Buffalo is tough after they put up 30 points or more, 9-1 against the spread when they score over 30 points. And they did that last week, putting up 40 on Houston. KC, on the other hand, they scored over 30 points last week. They're 0-4 against the spread in that scenario. And Buffalo 7-2 as a road dog, where KC is 1-6 as a home favorite. I guess it's obvious that they haven't been covering spreads lately anyways. But I understand your point, though, is sometimes when KC just plays consistently flat in lackluster spots, when it's time to play prime time, they just step up. And, you know, losing to Baltimore on Sunday Night Football probably was, you know, that's one that probably sticks in their craw a little bit, and they don't want it to happen again in a similar spot playing. But, you know, and this time they'll be playing at home. I think I want to say Buffalo, but for some reason, there's something in my head that's telling me like KC's just going to show out, and this is the game they're going to do it. They played very good against the Eagles last week, and it's almost a concerning factor going into this game that Buffalo may come out flat, because we just, you know, Buffalo hasn't been flat since they played the Steelers in week 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Jay, anything on this one?
Hell no, absolutely nothing. Dead toss, in my opinion, and the line says it. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. I actually think that the public may be on the Chiefs here. Still, the Chiefs are still a public team, even though they've been losing ATS. But real quick, I want to look at, like I say, that's a dead toss game. You see what I'm saying? So if I don't have official on it, I just go ahead and say pass. I did want to talk about real quick, Shark. I want to ask you about, do you think I'm crazy for liking the Dolphins today? Obviously, it was a Super Bowl for the Patriots, but it was a huge game for the Bucs as well. They've pretty much won like 9 out of the past 10 games, coming off 2 straight non-covers. Like I said, I know the double-digit spreads we already talked about a lot. This is one where I think Tampa Bay probably wins, but I don't think they win by double digits. See, maybe a 7-point win, maybe even 10. They're laying 11. The Dolphins coming off 3 straight losses. Brissett going up against his old, you know what I'm saying? Hey, what you?
Yeah, I got you.
What you think?
I think this is one that I didn't go into immense detail. When I see Tom Brady laying double digits, it's like we talk about in other sports where when we're looking at the whole card, I've done this for 10 years professionally. I know what games to throw out for my standards quickly so I don't waste time. And this is obviously no shade to my legendary friend, Jay Money's Money. But I just didn't love the figure. I felt like it was sharp. But now that you're mentioning it, I think Miami's a sharp look.
I
think,
I wouldn't mention it if I didn't think it was sharp.
yeah, no, I think it's a sharp look. I just by default, and also as a Patriots fan, total outside of the box comment, I just naturally go away from Tom Brady games. I've always watched it as a fan, and I just never really was inclined to cap it. It happens in any sport. King Dre in the chat. I like Dolphins covering the spread. Sharp man in the chat. I do
Sharp
think
take.
Sharp
take. I think Brady's. I'm not gonna say washed, but I think it's his last year. The age is starting to get to him. You could tell it on the throws. I don't know. I mean, I'm watching the Patriots game. I know they have a really good defense. The Dolphins defense isn't too bad either. They've seen Brady plenty of times when he was with the Patriots. Call me crazy, but I think that this defense will come to play today. And just watching Brady, all the throws aren't there like they were. Some in the dirt, some over the head. Brady's starting to get washed, guys. Sharp take. Nobody really looks at the age anymore. It's like LeBron. Still think he's the best in the game. Father time is undefeated. I may sprinkle on the Dolphins here. I think it's a sharp take in my opinion. This is personal play.
Jay coining his inner Max Kellerman here, but we'll let him
just
slide
watch the games.
He's done it for years. Though. He looked like shit in 2013.
He's not Brady, but the age is there.
Listen, I'll get into a 20-second.
Guy's 40-something.
In 2013, he went into Kansas City. They lost 42-13 in the rain. It was the game that Bill Belichick is famously coined for saying, on to Cincinnati. Everybody said he was done then. He was in his mid-30s. He had the Randy Moss season in 2007. They had gone to the Super Bowl in 2011 and lost. And, Jay, I'm not disagreeing. 44 is not 34. But he has always looked lackluster early season. And against good defenses and pass rushes in the rain, I don't know if I'm willing to say that is really a snapshot to where he's going this season. But maybe I'm a little biased. I don't know. Guns?
I revert you back to when Tom Brady played the Dolphins 2 times a year. And every time they went to Miami, it was a flat spot. Mm-hmm. And every time they played Miami. And I know he's playing at home today, but he's playing in Florida. And I really don't hate Jay's take on this one. 10.5 points in a game that they probably should have lost last week to the Patriots in the cold. I think 10.5 is too much. I give them too much respect to Tampa lately, and their defense just doesn't show it. I even watch them play when they played the Atlanta Falcons, who are an absolute terrible team. The Falcons stayed in that game for a long time until Matt Ryan was throwing abysmal interceptions for pick sixes, and the game just got way out of hand for him. But that was kind of the wait a minute. Tampa's defense isn't really that good, and they can get passed on. And I think this is a good spot to probably take a double-digit dog, a Florida team, versus a quarterback that they know and they recognize. And by the way, who's the coach on that team from Miami? Defensive coordinator for the Patriots, who does know Tom Brady. So I would suggest that probably the sharpest take you could probably take is Miami or bust, and do not take Tampa.
Absolutely. And what I'm saying about Tom Brady is purely just a remark on his career. I do agree that Miami is the sharp take here.
Yeah, but like I said, the same thing with LeBron in NBA. People still think he's one of the best in the league. He's not. The age is overcome. Now he's a different type of player. He's just trying to get wins. There's no going for MVP. It's no going for scoring title, trying to be the best player on the floor. Now the father time has come, and it's all about, he's declining. LeBron is declining. We see it. I'm saying the same thing with Tom Brady. It's the only thing. These are facts, right? I mean, you're 40. Yeah. The thing is, he's 42, 43. You're not supposed to be that great, right? I mean, it's the NFL here. I think it's his last season. Regardless, the Bucks probably win, but I think I'm gonna sprinkle some on. Like my locals give me plus 12 on, even though it's just a still number. They're giving me plus 12 on Miami. I think they keep it within 10. They're 7-1 against the spread, coming off a loss. And they did the same thing versus the Raiders. Should have won their game as well with Brissett. And Brissett, like I say, we used to look up to Tom Brady. I think they're coming to play here off 3 straight losses. I think they're coming to play. I like Miami. That's it for me, my guys.
Nice.
Yeah, and we're going to quickly run through the leaderboard competition. The top plays from the leaderboard competition. A lot of sharps in here. Do not agree with the shark. Top play, Tennessee minus 4.5. As I said, just the auto bounce back idea. Is it real? Is it not? We will find out at 1 p.m. Green Bay minus 3. Disagreement with the shark and the gun. Everybody likes to buy Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers is sexy. He's dating a beautiful Shailene Woodley. Does he travel well? They're 3-0 ATS last 3. I don't know. I have Cincinnati plus 3. a battle for eternal supremacy. Buffalo +3, potentially a sharp take there. I think obviously public versus market splits are all over the place there. That's going to be a tough game as we just talked about before. The leaders in the competition, go and follow these guys. I will tag these guys. My man Baz from Canada, top looks from him. New York Jets, Atlanta under 45. That's trending now. I think he's looking okay. It's 23. This is the NFL. There's 23 at the half. The line's 45. That's trending to 46. Welcome to NFL football. Buffalo, KC over 56.5. Bet with the champ, the overall leader. Cincinnati +3, sharp take. Buffalo +3, sharp take. New Orleans -2, sharp take. And Chargers -2, disagreement with the gun. Wrapping it up, NFL Week 5. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Drop likes and retweets. Again, we say this all the time, not to feed our ego, not because we're narcissistic idiots. We want to grow the channel and bring abundance to people. We're trying to bring you the best analytics, the best picks, the best conversation, and the best hype. It is Week 5. It is October 10th, 2021. Sharks and Sports signing off. Jay Money is Money, the gun. Jay, take him away.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I appreciate my guy Guns Picks, Shark and Sports, man. Y'all go and follow him on Twitter, my guys. No NBA preseason plays yet, man. I'll probably come on later. Right now, I'm just trying to get this NFL down. The games don't start until later. I'll be going live again. But like I say, appreciate everybody. Hit the like button, even if you're on Twitter, guys. Retweet the tweet if you can. That's the least you could do, right? We're giving out free picks every day. We never ask for any money, tips, or anything. So we appreciate the hell out of you guys. Saints for me, right behind it, heavy lean to the Dolphins here. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see them boys keep it within a touchdown, circle the wagons type game. But official for me, Saints. I'll go with Saints -2.5. And if you want to play the money line, it said -140 to -145. I played there earlier in the week, but I'll go with official Saints -2.5 as my top play of the day, my guys. Like I say, always appreciate everybody for tuning in. All we ask for is the engagements, likes, retweets, comments. We appreciate the hell out of you guys. We will keep doing it. Let's have a hell of a day. It's us against the bookies, my guys. It's cash.